Welcome everybody to What Do You Do with a BA in Theater, presented by Dallas Summer Musical's Education and Community Partnerships Department. My name is Seth Johnson, and I will be your host for this series. We have a very special guest. Katie, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, my name is Katie Svatek, and I graduated with a BFA in Production Performance with a focus in dramatic writing from Texas State University in 2019.
Awesome.
And I'm a playwright.
Yeah, you are. So let's talk about that degree. How did you find your degree path, and how did you find that university? What was your journey like?
Yeah, I actually started out as a science major at A&M and quickly realized that it just wasn't a good fit. Turns out I am one of those rare people who is a full-time artist and does science as a hobby instead of the other way around. And so I did theater at A&M and then ended up transferring over to Texas State University. It was a better fit, and there were just a lot more options. It was just a bigger program, and it gave me a little bit more room to explore. And that was kind of how I found playwriting. Up until that point, I had been doing mostly performing with a little bit of costuming on the side, and then I took a playwriting class at Texas State, and it was like the first class, it was like, this is what I meant to be doing. This is what it was all supposed to be. It just fit in a way that nothing had before, and I just really connected with it and loved it.
Yeah. So what is it like as an emerging playwright? What have you so far done to kind of like improve that career? Apprenticeships, internships? What does that look like?
I have been so lucky to have a lot of opportunities through the Kennedy Center and their American College Theater Festival, and also just their educational opportunities. The first play that I ever wrote ended up getting selected to go to their festival. I'd submitted it on a whim. It was a requirement for the class, and mine got picked. And so I went to this festival, and that was, just fully immersed around other playwrights and around, writers. It was a really great experience. And I made so many great connections there through that festival, some of which I still collaborate with too, now, which it's been 2 or 3 years. And then I went to the festival again the following year. And then the biggest thing for me through them, I was selected for their the Kennedy Center undergraduate playwriting workshop. So that meant that my full-length play, Dear Home, it got selected to go to DC and be workshopped with professionals and a professional director and having a dramaturg and actors to really work on that piece. And that was so incredible. It really, I don't know, it was a really great chance to put in work and to actually feel what it's like in a professional environment. And along with that, I got to do an intensive with Gary Garrison, who is kind of like the founder / father of the 10-minute play. So that was great. And then I got invited back with the Kennedy Center to come back a couple of months later to assist in their master's version of the workshop process that I'd done. So instead of undergraduates, they had MFA students coming and workshopping plays. So that was a lot of the development that I did. Of course, I took a ton of playwriting classes and just writing in general classes in school. But I didn't really do any internships. I'm just not in a financial position where I could take unpaid internships. And that's what, unfortunately, a lot of the playwriting ones are. So if you can afford it, do it. But it's not the case for everybody. So there are definitely opportunities that you don't have to pay for and they pay you. So just look for those.
I am a huge proponent of that. Get paid for your work. Yes.
Yes.
So Katie, the Kennedy Center one is a huge deal. What is it like seeing your work done on stage, especially at a venue like that? Oh my gosh.
It was unreal. I will say it wasn't like a stage. It was a workshop position. It was really in a room, but there's something about just being in that building. And the man who runs the program, Greg Henry, he is just an incredible person. But he told me while I was there, think of the Kennedy Center as your home, because that's what it's here. It's here for American artists. It's here for, it should be your home. It's the place in America where you can come and do your work and, really create art. And it was so surreal. It was so surreal. Because I mean, it is a massive building. It is huge. I was getting lost in it the whole, I mean, all the times I've been there. But it was such a big moment for me as a writer, and realizing, okay, this is something you can do. Because that was something that I never really knew before that point, especially growing up in community theater. It's like you're an actor, you're a technician, and you don't really, I don't know if you always get exposed to the other avenues that are in theater.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So were you able to be in the rehearsal room during those workshops of your plays?
Yeah, I was in the rehearsal room. It was basically all of us. My play has 3 characters, so it was the 3 actors, an actor reading stage directions, the director I was working with, and then the dramaturg I was working with. We all sat around a table and we're just reading stuff, improvising, getting up and moving, and really kind of working through some of the issues that the play had, because it got accepted. It wasn't a perfect piece by any means, but they saw some potential in it. And so that was a lot of like driving down and figuring out, okay, what's the story you want to tell, and how can we get you to that point.
Yeah.
But it was awesome. I don't know, like there's something about working with professionals. It felt like it was at a whole other caliber.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It was a wonderful, wonderful experience.
That's awesome. So when you're looking for places to submit your plays, what are some of your processes? How do you go about finding those submissions?
Yeah. I wish I could remember the name of this website right now. I'll send it to you after this, and you can link it if you need to. There's one that does it like a breakdown month by month. So like you'll see all the submission opportunities each month. So I use that. And then New Play Exchange posts opportunities every once in a while. Right now, and this was something that I learned at the Kennedy Center Intensive, but a lot of times, and this is something unique to playwriting that isn't really the case in any other theatrical profession, but you have to a lot of times pay to submit your work. So you have to pay a fee of, $5, $10. I think for the O'Neills, it's a $40 fee.
Oh my gosh.
And so, yeah, it's crazy. I mean, you think like, I don't know, imagining if actors had to pay to audition for things.
Yeah.
And I understand they have to pay for readers, and I've also worked as a reader, so I get that. But it is something to keep in mind with playwriting and balancing, okay, if I'm paying $10, how good do I think this play actually is? Does it really fulfill every single requirement that this submission needs it to fill? How many people are they allowing to submit? Just balancing those factors of if that's money worth, well spent. Because I have paid to submit stuff before.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's worth it. But there are plenty of opportunities that are free. But a lot of times those have a little bit of a quicker deadline. So maybe they're only accepting 100 plays in order to keep it free, So just kind of being on the ball with stuff like that. But that's kind of how I go about that. Yeah, it's a little bit weird right now with Corona, but there's still a lot of virtual plays happening. I mean, I'm working on a virtual workshop as a dramaturg right now. So there's theater happening if you're looking for it.
That's awesome. Yeah. So as a playwright, do you have any advice on how to establish your voice, or kind of like, I guess for those who are just starting out, what sort of things should they be keeping an eye out for, like when they're looking at classes or looking for mentors, things like that?
Definitely. I would say take all the writing classes you can. I took most of my classes were in playwriting, but I took classes in dramatic adaptation, which is like taking an existing work and turning it into a stage play or whatever. But in this class, it was a stage play. Screenwriting, TV writing, poetry classes, short stories, just any sort of writing you can get your hands on. It is really just mind-boggling how connected they all are. Like sure, the formatting may change, and sure, the type of story you would tell might be different, but there's so much there's so many transferable skills. As for like looking and trying to establish your voice, I would pay attention to the stuff that you like. And it doesn't necessarily even have to be plays and stuff, but for one, I really love science. And so I find a lot of inspiration, funnily enough, through like Atlas Obscura, just kind of like weird, quirky stuff, this stuff that like draws your eye, whatever gets you excited. Because I think that's the biggest thing with writing is maintaining that level of excitement and investment in your own piece, that especially when you're working on full lengths and when you've been working on full length for a while, that excitement can kind of wane sometimes, especially when you're dealing with writing blocks or just problems that come up with writing. So finding the things that you love, helps a lot of times. So you're always excited about it. You can always find that core thing that made you want to write the piece in the first place. And I can't remember if you asked another question.
No, that was it. You answered it perfectly. I've just been wondering this whole time, what kind of science? I feel like I've known you for a while and I never knew you were just like into science.
Yeah.
Talk to us about that.
I started off as a meteorology major. So like weather. I was like, clouds are cool. I don't know. And from meteorology, still trying to do science, I transferred from meteorology to environmental studies. That's always been like, I don't know, I just really like that kind of stuff. Like, I'm oddly obsessed with like horseshoe crabs right now, coral reproduction.
Their blood is amazing.
Their blood is incredible.
Yeah.
Who knew?
It's used, for those of you who don't know, I mean, look it up, but like it's blue and they use it for like a bunch of vaccines. I'm not a scientist. Katie, you explain it.
It's used, I mean, I'm not either. I plugged out of there, but like, I think their blood is used to create a compound that like can sense and like can tell doctors and technicians if something's not sterile. So they're saving lives all over the place.
Yeah. So
yeah.
Respect your horseshoe crabs, man.
Yeah. They're ugly, but they're good for the world.
Really the unsung heroes of America.
They're not even crabs. They're closely related to like spiders.
Oh, why did you say that?
It's a fun fact. Apparently not that fun, but like
it's fun and terrifying. Sorry, I don't like spiders. They're helpful, and I won't kill them directly, but I will definitely get them out of my house as soon as possible.
I don't think you have to worry about a horseshoe crab in your house. So.
Yeah, that I would welcome. As you are into science, I am into fish. I have a lot of fish tanks. So
I did not know that.
Yeah, I have 4 fish tanks right now.
Where?
In my room, I have a guppy tank, a shrimp tank, which they're like these little tiny like ornamental shrimp, and then a beta tank, and like just another one that's an aquaponics tank. So what it is, it's like a flower bed on top and then like the fish tank on the bottom, and there's no filter. The water goes through the plants, and the plants filter out all the organic waste, and they use that as fertilizer, and the clean water goes back down for the fish. So it's pretty cool. Yeah.
That is awesome. The more you know.
Yeah. Fish. I mean, what else are you going to do during this quarantine?
I don't know. We're all developing weird hobbies and I love it.
Yeah. I really wish mine was developed during this time. It was there before, but it hasn't gotten any worse, I guess, because of quarantine.
That's good. That's good.
I do not think my roommate will allow me to have any more fish tanks because I told her not to allow me to have any more fish tanks.
We all need that accountability.
Yeah, definitely. I have a dog to take care of now, so I'm a father. Well, Katie, I have one last question before I let you go. I've been asking everybody, if you could go back to your high school self and give her one piece of advice, what would that advice be?
Oh, no.
Mm-hmm. I get that reaction a lot.
Let's see. That's so tough. Oh my gosh. I guess I would say maybe research what college you're going to a little bit more. I really, like when I was in high school, I really had no idea what I was doing, ergo science, then other science, then theater, then different school theater, And while I wouldn't change that, I met some of my best friends at A&M and also at Texas State. I do think it probably would have been a little more economical with my time and my money. to have a clearer idea of what I wanted to do, but also like, I don't know, your journey is going to be your journey, and there's no one right way to do it. And I think it's also worth noting that you change while you're in school, in college.
Yes.
I mean, you change a lot, you change what you want to do, you take one elective and suddenly you're like, this is what I was meant to do with my life, you know? So I don't know. I would say maybe try to plan a little bit more, but also be open to change.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now that's really great advice. You remember, like, you're paying for your college education, so you need to be getting out of it what you want. Don't let like academic advisors or anybody like kind of try to bully you into taking certain courses that you don't want to take. There's always a way to get the education that you want. So yeah, just really be an advocate for yourself, because it's an expensive experience. It's worth it. But it's yours. So yeah.
I mean, and adding on that, 4 years, it's a long time and a short time.
Yeah.
All at the same time. 4 years, you can grow a lot in 4 years. I think it's about placing yourself in an environment where you feel confident that you'll be able to grow.
Yeah.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. And college isn't one and done. You can always go back to college. So my brother
right now.
Yeah. My brother's working on like 3 degrees or something like that, or his 3rd degree. It's crazy. I don't know. Both of my brothers are like higher education driven, which is incredible. I will eventually be going to grad school, but like, don't know when. But yeah. Well, Katie, this has been wonderful.
It's so good talking to you. Oh my goodness.
Know, it's so good catching up and learning about your science. Like, that's wonderful.
Keep that pig down.
I know. It's just every day you learn something new. Viewers out there, thank you so much for joining us, for sharing in these stories. Remember that Dallas Summer Musicals is a resource for you. If you need anything, if you have any questions, send us an email. If you're curious about more of Katie's career and you want to like read her plays, let us know. We can send you some, or connect you to people who will help your career as you need it. So use us as you can, and send us those emails. We love hearing from y'all. Remember to stay safe, wash your hands, and have a wonderful day. Bye.